Hello guys, welcome to a new video on Tower of God New World. And in this video I'm going to do sort of a pool guide for the 1.5 anniversary. We're going to talk about two topics. The first one is who to pick between Dowon, Gustang and Traumerei, and the second one is going to be the Nonstop SSR Plus banner. So if you're only interested in that, feel free to skip to it using the timestamp down below. Otherwise, we can get started with the first topic. And before going over the different use cases and the different level of investment you have on your Traumerei already, I have a few basic things to talk about. The first thing is the average rates. And for Dowon, that is 400 black market tickets. That's the mathematical average, let's say. And it could go to 300 if you're lucky, 500 if you're unlucky, but I would expect it to be within this range. For Gustang and Traumerei, the things change a bit because for a family head, the average would be 1400. Now it could go very bad for you and you would need maybe 1800 summons. The absolute worst, which is impossible to be honest, is 2200, but that's not happening, I believe. And if you are really, really lucky, you could maybe in 1000 pool, if you're extremely lucky, 900 or 800, you could get the unit to Rainbow 5. But those are, again, quite extreme scenarios, I'd say. So yeah, this is just the initial thing about the rates. Then there are also some more considerations. The first one would be do not pull for Dowon in the first week. Wait for people to test and wait for Gustang to be actually out and released because Dowon is going to last for 4 weeks. She's not going away. So you're going to have the possibility to pull for her at this kind of advantageous rates, let's say, for the whole 4 weeks. So no rush, just take your time, wait for people to test, or wait for Gustan to be out. Unless you have so many tickets you don't care, and at that point, I don't know why you're still watching this part of the video, you can just skip over to the next part. So the second point would be don't pull for Dowon if she's not worth it, but that's more or less the case for every single unit. Do not waste resources on units that are not valuable enough, unless obviously you like the unit. This is not a game where you have to necessarily try hard unless you want to, so no problem in going for a unit you like. So yeah, just wanted to throw that out there. Third point would be that Dowon will always be available. So even after her banner is gone, she will stay in the black market. So you can always pull for her. Obviously not at this kind of rates. It will be a lot worse, but you know, she's not going away like family heads. So the priority should go over to Traumerei or Gustang. Then the number 4 is more or less already being covered by number 1, but is slightly different. In this case, I was mentioning more for the Traumerei banner, and that is wait for Gustang's video before making your decision, because having at least a little bit of information is better than no information. So if you are in doubt whether you should go for Traumerei on Gustang or Gustang and you can only afford one of the two, then definitely wait. You should not go for Traumerei before at least seeing what Gustang is supposed to do. Obviously, we won't have the evolution upgrades, and those are pretty massive for a family head unit because that's 4 skills, not 2. And we also won't have the exclusive equipment. So again, little information, but still better than nothing. So I'd say if you're in doubt, do not pull for Traumerei until the very last day. Then for number 5, just a consideration, and that is Traumerei is fine at 0 dupes, and up to Rainbow 5, it does improve, but is nothing really that big that you say you absolutely have to go for those few more copies of him. No, from my point of view, if you have him at 0 dupes, he is totally fine. He will have his very niche use case, which is enemies with shields and enemies with attack buffs. If you use him there, great. If you use him outside of that, he's going to be basically inexistent, but that's fine. And if you want to really make him do well, even if the enemies don't have shields, then you definitely need Rainbow 5. And even then, you will likely use him against enemies with shields. So kind of up to you, but I would say Traumerei is a unit that can still be used at zero dupes. So just keep that in mind. If we still don't have enough information to understand how valuable Gustang is going to be, you should still probably just stick to whatever dupes you have for Traumerei, or get him to zero dupes if you don't have him, and that's it. Then focus on Traumerei. That's just my recommendation in general. The last point is that Gustang at zero dupes is guaranteed because everyone will get 150 tickets of his banner. So even if you decide to go for Traumerei, you will still get at least at zero dupes Gustang. Just throwing it out there, an additional information that you already knew most likely. So yeah. Now over the different cases, I kind of defined 6 of them, and I made the distinction between the amount of black market pulls you can do. This includes Suspendium, as we can see from here, but it's not including Gustan tickets because obviously those are exclusive to Gustan. So I will take them into account when trying to give the explanations, but just keep in mind, to be within this range, you don't have to do the plus 150. Just look at your Suspendium, you look at your black market pools and see how many you have. And it is how many you have currently, because I'm always considering that you should push Adventure, push the Trial of Origin to get as many black market tickets that you can. We will also have a lot of events during this period, so I'm assuming quite a bit of Suspendium as well, which could help in reaching those those average rates thresholds to allow you to get a family head to Rainbow 5. Again, just additional things up there. So the first case is you're broke and you have less than 600 black market pools. With this amount of pools, basically, you cannot max a family head. You could max Traumerei if he's at a decent level already. So as you can see here, I have different columns based on the dupes you have for Traumerei. And the first one, that is, you don't have Traumerei, you should definitely get him at the very least at zero dupes for the reason I mentioned before. He is fine, he works at zero dupes, and he has a really good use case because many people find units like Ghost or like Urek annoying, and this guy definitely helps in those scenarios. It won't be the main DPS, but it will definitely help in like your DPS units actually be able to kill those. So yeah, this guy, if you don't have him, I think I always put him at zero dupes in every single scenario. Yes, so get him. One copy. Worst case scenario, you're going to waste 100 pulls, which is quite a bit, but that's the worst case scenario. Is rarely going to happen. And then you have the option of either going for Rainbow 5 Dowon, because you probably can afford, like, can get together enough in 4 weeks to actually get her to Rainbow 5. But again, after a single copy of Traumerei, and only if she's actually worth it, as per the point 2 here. So don't necessarily go for her. Just wait. If she's worth it, then you can do it. And unfortunately, we'll have to stick to just at zero dupes Gustang. Now, these things could change if we see that Gustang is viable at 3 red. I doubt it, because I mean, he might be strong at 3 red, but that just means that at Rainbow 5 is going to be even more insane. So I wouldn't bother too much. Probably zero dupes will be okay. You should just understand that it's not meant to be, kind of thing. So leave him at zero dupes and we'll see. We will always have time until the last day to make this decision, so 4 weeks, but you probably will end up with a zero dupes Gustan or 3 red at best. So that's more or less the idea. Obviously, if you have a Traumerei that's between 1 red and Rainbow 4, you should definitely go for him first and get him to Rainbow 5. And then Dowon, if you can spare anything, you could think about her, but again, only if really worth it. So that's the use case where you're broke. I think it's pretty clear. I don't know if you have any questions, but feel free to leave them down below. For the second use case, you are between 600 and 1000 black market pools. And obviously, this is quite a big range. So if you are closer to 1000 and you have adventure to clear, you have trials of origin. Wait a second, I have to write of origin because the base one doesn't give you any sort of black market tickets. You should be starting from 600 or was it 500? I don't recall, but one of the two, they start giving you a lot of black market tickets. So you could definitely in 4 weeks put together enough, given you are at that starting rate, like 500 or 600, I don't remember. So that could be good enough for you. And if you're closer to that and have all of these at your disposal and you can push, you definitely can get to a number of summons that will let you get Gustang to Rainbow 5. Not necessarily Traumerei because of the 150 tickets. So in this case, the safe option would be to skip Traumerei and just try to get Gustang to Rainbow 5 if possible. If you have already Traumerei that is like blue or purple, I would say you could try to Rainbow 5 him with this amount of pools and then just skip Dowon and Gustang. And if you have a lot of dupes on Traumerei already, so he's already more than red tier, you can definitely get him to Rainbow 5. So I would say this could be your priority. But again, wait for Gustang's video because it might be so good that we could say, okay, let's be happy about the zero dupes Traumerei and focus on getting this guy to Rainbow 5. For Dowon, it's more or less always the same. Like she should be considered only after the family heads for the reasons mentioned before. So she's basically always a skip unless she's really busted, but I don't think so. And even then, family head will take the precedence. So Gustang or Traumerei. If you cannot afford either of them, then Dowon becomes an option. Or if after going for one of the two, you have enough for Dowon but not enough for the other one, then definitely go for Dowon too. So yeah, the last option is you already have a maxed out Traumerei. And in this case, obviously, again, focus on Gustang. So wait until the last day to see how many resources you can get. And if you have enough and feel confident, just go for Gustang. And with whichever leftovers you have, then go for Dowon. For the third case, you have more than 1000 pool, less than 1400. You're basically in the range where you can guarantee a Gustang already because you're adding the 150. Plus, you have again all the adventure floors that you could clear, all the suspending they're going to give us, and also the trial of origins if you're at that point. So chances are this guy is already in your pocket and you can get him to Rainbow 5. At which point I'd say I'd skip personally Traumerei. If you have him, like if you don't have him, just get him at zero dupes. Don't try to go for Rainbow 5. Just stick to Gustang because those 150 additional tickets will definitely help you a lot more. So that's what I would do. And then just skip Dowon as well. Same logic as before. For Traumerei, if you have him between zero dupes and purple 3, I would say zero dupes is really low, but already starting from 3 green or something, you could think about going for him Rainbow 5 and then skip Gustang. Basically, just go with the zero dupes one that you will get for free. I don't particularly like it. Again, Traumerei, we already know works fine at zero dupes. He's obviously not the crazy carry that we see when people use him. He's not going to carry you in PvP in any way because the starting energy is really important and family heads get like 700 of it. So really, really massive. But for adventure purposes, zero dupes will work. So don't be worried. From my point of view, I'd rather skip Traumerei than skip Gustang. So that's kind of the idea, let's say. And again, if you have him already quite invested, then going for Rainbow 5 is more logical because it's going to be a lot cheaper. And you could even be lucky enough to say, okay, you have him orange tier you could get him to Rainbow 5 and still afford to go for Rainbow 5 Gustang. Because again, of all the tickets that we will get by pushing the adventure, etc., etc. So possible. Actually, I would even say quite likely. So the starting point will vary a lot in making your decision. If you already have quite a lot of dupes on Traumerei and a lot of tickets saved up, might be a good idea to already max out Traumerei. And then really try hard with a maxed out Traumerei to clear as much as you can of the content and get enough resources for him. So it's sort of an investment at this point. And for the last one, I mean, it's basically the same because you already have Traumerei maxed out. So just get this guy to Rainbow 5. You can definitely do it this tier. And if you can, and if you are lucky enough, you could also go for Dowon, but that kind of depends. If you have more than 1400 tickets and less than 1800, then one family head is guaranteed. In this case, you kind of have to pick one of the two. If you have no Traumerei, you could get him easily to Rainbow 5, no problems. The thing is, again, you then won't have a Rainbow 5 Gustang. So that's a bit of a decision to make there. But if you feel like you're closer to the 1800 range and you feel like you have a lot of content to clear and you have the time to dedicate to actually pushing, then this could actually be an investment that would then get you to a Rainbow 5 Gustang. At the end of the day, is always sort of luck that will decide whether you can do this kind of thing or not. Let's say that I would probably, again, stick to Gustang. I wouldn't go for Traumerei. We know he's crazy good at Rainbow 5, but I have a feeling they're going to make Gustang really, really good and with a lot of damage in his kit. And this guy is a lot more situational. He's amazing, but I don't know. I, I have a feeling it might be worth to wait. Definitely, again, wait for the video before making any decision, because at least we can see what his active skills will do, his special move will do, his passive will do. So yeah, again, definitely wait for that. If you have enough copies of Traumerei, so like 0 dupes to 3 purple, let's say 3 green to 3 purple actually, you could even more so do the trick I mentioned. So fully invest on Traumerei, use him to push as far as you can, and then with the resources you get, invest on Gustang Rainbow 5 as well. Could be possible. Difficult, but possible. If you have Traumerei between 1 red and Rainbow 4, definitely go for Rainbow 5. I would say at that point is also kind of guaranteed that you're going to get Gustang as well to Rainbow 5. So if you have Traumerei with that amount of investment and these many pools, I think it's reasonable to go for both of them and definitely ignore Dowon at that point. And if you already have Traumerei Rainbow 5, then go for Gustang. And that's it. If you have enough copies left, then you can go for Dowon, but not that needed. You might even save for the next one. We'll see. Again, I don't know how applicable this case will be to most of you, so I will definitely skip the last one that is basically pull both family heads. So let's skip the last one. It doesn't really matter. This one is also pretty much guaranteed that you can take one family head and Dowon, or you could go for both family heads already starting from the second tier. So if you already have him at green or something, you could do it fairly easily. You could get him to Rainbow 5, then use him to get enough resources to also Rainbow 5 Gustang. Again, more or less the same strategy. Definitely, if you already have him at red 1 at least, you can already do both of them. So I'd recommend you do so and just skip Dowon. And in the last case, you can take them both, Gustang and Dowon, no problem. So yeah, for the last use case, unless you are really unlucky, you should be able to get them all in the 4 weeks time span that we have. So that's more or less it. Again, to summarize everything, the consideration is family heads are limited. so you won't have access to them afterwards. Well, I mean, you have that very small chance in the black market. Some people even manage to pull a double of a Traumerei from the black market somehow, so it's not entirely impossible, but very unlikely that you're going to get any dupes of them, especially because black market sucks so much you shouldn't even pull there. So let's say family heads are not obtainable outside of these events, well, Dowon will stay. So Dowon is the one I would skip by default. If you are in doubt, just skip her and just wait until the last day after you have absolute certainty you cannot get Gustang, you cannot get anyone, but you could get Rainbow 5 Dowon, then you could go for her. But otherwise, I would always skip her and wait. Traumerei, I'd say stick to zero dupes unless you can sort of get it cheaply enough because you already have dupes, or because you have a lot of pools and you can get him to Rainbow 5 and then still get enough value back by pushing, etc. That will also let you get Gustang. Of the two, I have a feeling that Gustang is going to be the one that can carry more. And for that reason, again, wait for Gustang's video. Let's see what his kit does. And then you can make a better decision whether to all in on Traumerei on the last day that he's available, or just leave him at zero dupes or whatever dupes you have, and then go all in on Gustang. This is more or less it, guys. I hope I could help clarify and I didn't make it even messier. If I did, I'm sorry, and let me know in the comments down below. But now we can move on to the second topic, and that is the Nonstop SSR Plus banner. And also here, just a few considerations first, and that is we're going to get 900 tickets in theory. Pretty sure we're going to get those. And we could also get 300 from the shop. They usually have like 100 ticket bundles on like €2 and a half, I don't know, in your currency, but it's pretty cheap. And if you buy all three, that's an additional 4 copies on average, so 16. But I'm not going to take that into account. Definitely know that it's there, and if you are uh, thinking about spending on this game, that is definitely very, very cheap and pretty good value. So I'd recommend you do that. And yeah, this is just the average number of copies we're going to get. And an additional consideration is that other than the first 2 rows, the rest of the priorities could vary a lot based on your needs. Meaning, if you're lacking in DPS, definitely a DPS, even at the lower tier, could be a higher priority. If you're lacking some sort of utility or a specific unit, then definitely that one would be higher priority. But the first 2 rows, I'm pretty sure they are just the most important units that you could get. So those are basically the most important. And then from the third onwards, you could move them based on your needs. It's not really set in stone. It's just, in general, I believe the third and fourth rows are a bit more important, but any will do based on your needs again. And the last, no, not last consideration. The next consideration is that you have to always think about what you're lacking in your teams. If you need more DPS, if you need an additional DPS unit, because more DPS could also be brought by support like Albelda on or Garam. So think about what your team needs. If you need more survivability, then definitely go for either a frontline that can distract the enemies or group them and keep them occupied, or go for some unit that can boost your survivability. If you need more damage, again, either a DPS or a support that boosts it. So always look at your teams and then decide. The last consideration is think about how many copies you already have of a unit. If the unit is already orange or so, it's kind of a waste to go for that unit in this banner, because after you max them out, you cannot change the unit. You will keep on pulling for them, and whenever you do, you will get 4 purple gems and then some revolution mats on top of that, which is not the worst deal of the world, but definitely if you are still like building your roster, that's not something you want to do. You want to maximize the number of copies that you're going to get here. So yeah, just an additional consideration. Now, in terms of units, we have everyone up to white, and white is the best unit. By far, is great at bossing, great in adventure, great survivability on his own. Definitely, if you don't have him, go for him. He's not going to be as good if he's not Rainbow 5, but already Orange 4 is super strong. Rainbow 5 is obviously insane, but okay. The thing is, if you have him in no dupes, that will only take you to 3 red, let's say on average, unless you're lucky, or unless, again, you buy the 100 non-stop ticket packs from the shop. So that might not be enough, but it's still a really good boost and definitely the best unit you want to get those dupes for. So even if you have him at 0 dupes, definitely go for that guy. If you have him at orange, the same thing applies. As I said before, it's a bit of a waste, so you should pick somebody else, from my point of view. The next one would be Kaiser, but again, if you're a new player, you probably selected her from the Nonstop SSR Plus banner. And if you're an old player, probably you already selected her from the previous Nonstop SSR Plus banner that was available, I think in September. So you already have her, most likely maxed out. But if you don't, select her. Really good. Again, white takes the precedence, but Kaiser is a good second best. She won't be as good on her own at higher deficits. She will just die if you don't have a good team around her, specifically these other units here down below, but whatever. So you will make great use of her early on in bossing, and if your deficit is lower than, let's say, 220 to 30, she will not die in one shot on her own, even though she will start to. So yeah, definitely amazing unit. Just play her with the resistances early on and she will carry on her own, no problem. Now the second priority units I would pick after we have these two guys at Rainbow 5, if you already have those, obviously move on to the next tier. And in this case, we have Anniversary Iwa if you want to boost the survivability of your team. Really good option, but that's all she does and you need to get her to Rainbow 5. If you ever at 0 dupes, is going to be tricky to get her to Rainbow 5 for the same reasons mentioned before. So might not be worth it. Maybe if you have like a 3 blue Albelda, I'd probably pick Albelda in that scenario. But if you have a 3 blue Anniversary one, definitely go for her and you should be able to get her to Rainbow 5. Albelda is a nice other option because she can boost your damage by a ton and she can make a lot of maybe less relevant DPS units a lot stronger. So even SSR DPS units, if you link them to a R5 or even just R4 Albelda, they are going to be a lot stronger and even carry a really good deficit. So Albelda can enable so many DPS units that she's definitely worth it. The last option that I was a bit doubtful on whether to pull him here or not is Eden. And it's not because Eden is absolutely like he's not good. He's absolutely amazing. But the thing is, he starts to be usable at very low dupes already. And a 3 red is basically full potential, let's say. It definitely gets better with Revolution, but not by a huge margin. So getting dupes for him, I feel like is not that important, at least not from this event. It is important to get dupes for him, but you can do so just from the usual normal banner PT or whatever other means. It doesn't need to be via the Nonstop banner. Still, super valuable unit, so I decided anyway to put him into the second priority category. And yeah, I'd say great pick if you need a DPS. So these 3 units will probably be your best DPSs and will last you for a very, very long time. Actually, you will always be able to use them, so really good. The third priority, this is, I would say, almost at the level of being almost mandatory. So here I could have even written like the first 3 rows instead of the first 2, but let's say that these ones could be more up to you because The first option here, Mashini, is a really good purple DPS. But for purple, you already have white. It's true that you can play them in two different teams. They're not fixed on their own color. They don't have any color specific buffs, so you can play them wherever you want. But there are some overlapping in their best units, and obviously both of them would like to have Yura, so that's a big problem kind of thing, but still they will both perform regardless. So she's a good pick, really good DPS, but again, only if you need DPS options and you don't already have enough. Another good unit would be Yang. She also deals really good damage, but contrary to Eden and Mashini, she needs a lot of revolution investment. Otherwise, she won't really do damage. So I would say great pick, but be aware that you will need a lot of resources. The same thing applies to the first two, but the first two are so good that even with just the main nodes, they will already perform. That's not really going to be the case for her. I mean, yes, kind of, but mages definitely want the guaranteed crits and the additional crit damage. These two already have enough buffs on their own kits, so that's kind of the difference. The third unit I put here is Garam. She also boosts the damage of your team, kind of like Albelda, but her buffs are more specific to just special move based units. If your DPS units do not rely on the special move, her buffs are going to be a lot lower, so not really comparable. She's a lot more niche compared to Albelda. The last, like the fourth priority I put here, we have Evan, because this guy really shines at Rainbow 5, but from 0 dupes to Rainbow 5 is basically the same. So the Nonstop is a good opportunity to just boost these dupes very quickly. So you could think about that. And if you already have all the other options above, I think is a good pick. Then we have Calavan. This guy is a bit of a selfish tank. He doesn't provide anything to the team other than a bit of grouping and a bit of CC, but no real buffs. So he's fine. It can be used. He's probably the best green unit that we have other than Traumerei and Anniversary Iwa. But still, I don't know. This guy could be a lot lower. Kind of depends on who you have. If you already have, well, I mean, you should have already an Albelda Revolution 5, so they are really good together. But Albelda is so good with so many units that not always you can spare Albelda for him. So he's a good option, but not really the best. We also have Karaka here because his orange 4 is really good for grouping and comes in handy quite frequently. Easy a must? Not really, to be honest, but compared to the other units we have here, I still believe is slightly above. Unless you have a specific use case for which you need one of the other units, I'd say Karaka is a perfectly reasonable choice. And then the others, I don't want to say they're kind of in a random order because I believe these five are still slightly above these others, but it's not like they're really crazy value. Data Machine early on will carry a team on her own, but as the deficit increases, her damage won't be enough. Still, valuable unit, pretty good, just maybe not so worth investing in at this point, but if you don't have any other better option, definitely she's valuable. Viol, great damage overall after the buff. Still not as insane as it should be, probably. And he will need Albelda to really boost his damage, which, again, for the same reason as Calavan, many DPS units will want her, so it's not really easy to have her available. But, I mean, Viol can work, just not that great. If you're planning on going for Gustang, definitely you can skip him. You will have enough for of Gustang for red DPS. We also have Child Yuri. Child Yuri is okay as an option. She deals high damage early on, and later on can still be used as sort of a grouping unit that tanks and still deals a bit of damage. So you could pick her. Not my first choice, but if you already have most of the other ones uh, a Rainbow 5, why not? Evankel, I personally like Viol more now, and my Evankel is kind of trash anyway, but okay. She's okay, but she doesn't have enough burst nowadays. She cannot keep up with the other DPS units, and to me, she's falling behind quite heavily. She doesn't work well with Albelda because her active skills are trash, and whenever Albelda resets them, you have the risk of casting the active skills instead of the special move and leading to her death. So kind of meh. Still usable, but not my first choice. Again, really, actually, one of the last ones I'd pick. Gustang, overall, solid support, but it doesn't have any sort of insane niches as the other supports in the list. Is very, I don't know, average. It boosts attack, it boosts swiftness, it heals, it removes debuffs, but it's nothing really revolutionary or insane. Like, it doesn't have special move pierce, it doesn't have frequent invincibility, it doesn't have resets on the active skills or crazy attack buffs, and it doesn't have chainable invincibility. So it's a bit average, but is still good, can still be used. All the other units here in the last tier are just the remaining ones. Ren, only acceptable early on, but later it will mainly be a tank, but still not really do much. Zahard is a shield remover, but you just need Traumerei 0 dupes, and this guy is entirely useless unless you have multiple enemies with shields, which will happen, but not often they're a problem because this guy can melt them, Kaiser can melt them as well, Eden can usually melt them, so you don't really need Zahard. You have enough of Traumerei, but we'll see. I don't think his dupes even do much anyway, so if you have him at 0 dupes, it's mostly fine. Asensio, I personally don't like him. He has a physical resistance shred, maybe now, uh, or well, not really now, but unless Gustang can make some use of him, but I doubt it. I don't really like his kit much. His damage is okay at full investment, but not really the best unit in general. To me, he's an easy skip. Awakened Rack, good tank, good utility, but whatever. Not really anything that's insane value. We have Jinsung, good assassin, good with Albelda, good in general with units that allow him to spam the special move. But again, nothing really insane. Urek and Urek. Okay, the blue Urek is viable now, I'd say, with the old with full investment and revolution unlocked. He can do damage, but not at a level that you would say is a carry. It's just a sub DPS at best with a buff removal, which is good. Swiftness decrease, which is good. Some shields, which are fine, but not really my first choice either. I use him at times, but even if I didn't have him, I wouldn't miss him. Let's say it like that. Data work is just trash, so just ignore him entirely. I probably talked a bit too much about all these different units. I hope it's clear in general. I'd say definitely if you're missing one of the two units here and they're not already like orange, go for one of those. Same thing for the second row after you're done with the first one. I think all three of these are great. If you're missing all three of them, already as I mentioned, more survivability, Anniversariwa, more damage for your existing carries, Albelda. You need another carry, Eden. Pretty simple. And I wouldn't even consider the other units below until at least, let's say, these four are done. So until Albelda. Eden, if you decide to go for Irang, Garam, or Mashani before him, to be honest, it could be okay. Like if you have him at 3 blue, I'd probably consider this third row a bit more. If you have him at 0 dupes, maybe I'd stick to Eden. But yeah, those are kind of changeable. But the first four, always get them. If you don't have one of them, and if you have them at low enough dupes, go for one of them. Afterwards, kind of up to you, depends on your team, but Eden, Mashani, Irang, and Garam are all amazing choices. Evan is also great, but you need to keep in mind you have to get him to Rainbow 5. Otherwise, you just got more copies of a unit that won't use them. So it's going to allow you to get there more easily. But again, if you have the previous choices available, go for them. Calavan, again, kind of up to you. All these ones are all up to you. See what you're lacking, which teams are worse for you, and then go for one of those units. There is really not much to it. All of them will have some use cases. So yeah, of those, I tried to put first the ones that you could still use. So Evan, Calavan, Karaka, obviously Datamashini, Viol, Gustang. These two, I find myself rarely using them. And all of these don't matter. Like this guy, you will use him, but it doesn't really need dupes. So Awakened Rock, okay, but I wouldn't pick him here. And the rest, basically never used. So that's just to give you an idea. I hope this last super quick recap was a bit more helpful. If you have any kind of question, feel free to leave them down below. I will definitely try to reply to all of you. I might have neglected some of you in the previous comments just because I knew I was going to make this video, so I hope to answer most of it with this. But if you have any custom situations, let me know. And please don't just ask, should I go for uh, Albelda or Garam? Give me like some more information, like which other carries you have in your roster, and not only like the SSR Plus, but also the SSR units. Just let me know more information. How many dupes you have of each, at least. Like, let's say, should I go for a 3 blue Albelda or a 3 purple Garam? That's already a bit more information. Maybe you can also add, I have Evankel as a carry, I have Viol as a carry, I have whatever, and that could change the reply, obviously. So provide as much context as you can, because just asking, should I go for Mashani or Irang? I'm like, I don't know. I don't know which DPSs you have, which supports you have. I know nothing. So how can I tell you which of the two you should go for? They're both good units. They're both exceptional at different things. So kind of depends. It's always a matter of context. So yeah, especially when you decide between units that I put on the same level, let's say. If it's between different tiers, then definitely I would say go for the one above. And yeah, that's more or less what I wanted to say. If you have any doubts, again, let me know in the comments, and I will see you guys tomorrow for the live stream. I'm expecting to be streaming around 8:30 p.m. Central European time, but I will put already the live stream on YouTube so that you know the time in your time zone. And yeah, I will see you guys then. Bye.